Welcome to UAPB Currents. I'm your host, Shelly Roby Ingram, and today we have joining us Ms. Tisha Arnold, who is the project specialist in the Office of Planning, Institutional Research, and Public Information.
Correct.
Yeah, all of those parts in, and it's a detailed title for a very detailed position.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So thanks for coming and joining us, and we're going to be actually talking today about our Founders Celebration for this year. But before we get started talking about Founders, tell us a little bit about what goes into all of the details of that title in your office.
Oh gosh, I guess I'll put it in the top 5. My primary job is to kind of serve as a liaison to the media. Any public events that we have, I generally will give a press release, and then I also manage the university website and our social media outlets, and then the project part comes into things like this, chairing Founder Celebration and helping with event organization.
Okay, and you were talking about the social media sites and things.
Correct.
I know this year we've had so many. We're everywhere.
Everywhere,
We're
everywhere. I try to be.
everywhere.
There's a lot more, but the basic 5, I call them the top social media outlets, such as Facebook, we're at UA Pine Bluff. For Twitter, we're at UAPB Info. For Instagram, we're at UAPB. And we have a temporary news blog on WordPress at UAPB News.
Okay. Yeah. And they're all always full of information.
Absolutely.
And how does one go about, say, for instance, getting the blog and all of those things, access to those, or if they don't, know where they can go to get the blog information?
Sure. You can go to uapbnews.wordpress.com, and you'll see the basic, the latest releases on university news and events, and there's also some links there for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can also subscribe to the feed, so anytime something's posted, you get an inbox alert for the latest headline.
Okay, and that's how you keep up with all of the latest information and what's going on here at the university, like Founders Day, which happens to have its own little mini page.
Absolutely.
With information of all the events that are going to take place, and we're going to talk about all of those events, and we have some new things that we're doing this year for Founders.
Absolutely.
But before we get started, let's talk about Founders. What is the Founders Celebration, and what all goes into it?
Well, Founder Celebration is meant to be a time of reflection where we look at how things really got started, and we honor those that have kind of paved the way for us to enjoy the education and opportunities we have today.
Right. Now, what exactly, I guess, are some of the general events that usually we would have taking place at a Founders Day? Those things that I guess we know that we're going to look for every year.
Absolutely. One of the main things is Founders Convocation. Now, the new thing with that is that we've changed the date and time.
Okay.
Traditionally, it's been Sunday at 3 o'clock. We've moved it to Thursday at 10:30 a.m.
Okay.
So that's one of those traditional ones. Sunrise service, which is still Sunday morning at 6:30 a.m. And then the alumni breakfast, which is immediately thereafter, usually around 8 a.m.
Right.
So, and I'm sorry, I need to track back to the Founders Concert, which is Friday night at 7 o'clock.
Okay. All right. And we'll talk a little bit more in detail about those events and what you can look forward to taking place at those events a little later in the show. So what is this year's theme? This is the 140th Founders Celebration. And so what is the theme of this year's celebration, and what's the reasoning behind that?
Okay. Well, being graced with the honor of chairing this year's event, I wanted to have a theme that kind of was indicative of where we need to go. So the theme this year is Inspired by the Past to Impact the Future. And it really is about looking at learning from the past. We all know that adage, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Right.
And then making sure that we impact the future generations. So we don't have important figures on campus and we have no idea who they are.
Right.
So we know where we came from.
Right. I know earlier we were talking, you were telling us some interesting tidbits about university history.
Absolutely.
And as from working on this Founders Committee, what are some of those little tidbits that you've found out, you know, about the university that people need to know?
Well, I found out last year, actually. It was at our follow-up meeting. Prior to that, it was kind of made known to me that in 1875, somewhere between 73 and 75, furniture and supplies coming down the Arkansas River sank in the Arkansas River. We were supposed to actually open before September 27th, but because of that, it delayed opening of the school until that date and time. And we started last year trying to do a little bit of preliminary research to find out if we could even find any relic, any remnant of those ruins in the Arkansas River. So at this point, no leads yet, but we're still looking.
So that's our own little Titanic story.
We have our own Titanic story, absolutely.
Somewhere there's a little barge.
There's something, a brick or something
UAPB,
with branch normal.
Right, the branch normal.
It'd be nice to see.
Emblems and seals
yes.
on it. That would be great to find.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now, I imagine that for founders and the historical part of it, that our university museum plays a big part of it.
Yes, it actually was a fuel for some of the events that will happen during this celebration. But yeah, they gave us a lot of information about the first class, a lot about J.C. Corbin, and then some of our alum have actually written some very detailed articles about who he was, where he came from, his parents, his siblings, his children, and his wife.
Right. And for those people who are a part of the UAPB family but may not be immediate family,
right, extended
who didn't have to take personal social development
right
classes, and they don't know who J.C. Corbin is.
Right.
Just to give them a little bit of background on who that is and how he ties into, founders.
Well, J.C. Corbin really is the man that started it all. He is the founding father. And he took the permission that he got from the University of Arkansas Board of Trustees, then known as Arkansas Industrial University, to start the branch normal school here in Pine Bluff. So he is the founding father.
Right, right. And so, of course, we want to remember him, and that's why there's so much information and events tied into that and around that. All right, so before we get ready to go to break, we've already talked about the fact that we're, have some events that are going to be different this year.
Yes.
Now, Founders is going to actually start
April.
A little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and give us the dates
sure.
that we're going to have the event before we go to break.
Well, Founder Celebration will be April 24th through the 28th this year.
Okay, all right. So go ahead and put that on your calendar that you need to be here on the university campus starting April 24th, which I believe is a Wednesday.
Correct.
That's a Wednesday. So we'll be going all week from that Wednesday through Sunday.
Absolutely.
And then you're welcome to hang around, before and after.
Always.
There's plenty of things to do here on campus before and after that.
Yes.
But we will be back to talk about the events that are going to be taking place and some of the new things.
Yes.
We're getting the students more involved in the things that are taking place this year, and some things that are going to be really fun for you. And you students can find out how you can be involved in Founder Celebration for this year. We'll be right back on UAPB Currents.
Hey, listen up. We have a challenge. A big challenge. Many African Americans fighting diseases like leukemia, lymphoma, and sickle cell anemia can't find marrow donors. We need more African Americans to step up. Step up. You could be the one to save a life. You can be the match. Take the first step at bethematch.org. Step your game up.
Over 13 million people are affected by famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Make a simple text donation of $10.
But do more than donate. Forward the facts.
Welcome back to UAPB Currents, and again we're joined by Ms. Tisha Arnold, who is the project specialist for the Office of Planning, Institutional Research, and Public Information. And she's here today to talk with us about Founders Celebration, our 140th Founders Celebration. Now, going back, did we talk about where, well, of course, I know the institutional research part of your job comes in with the articles and things that you write for the blog and all of that kind of stuff, but what exactly else goes into that part of your job? We know that you're our public information liaison and you're over the social media web aspect.
Right. The institutional research part is actually a separate component. My colleague Margaret Taylor actually deals with that, and that has to do everything to do with remediation rates, graduation, how many students are enrolled, you know, those different types of things.
Right.
We work together to create the fast facts that we produce every fall. So actually you can go to the website at uapb.edu and go to Planning Institutional Research and download what we've created, which is now an infographic of last fall's enrollment.
Okay, all right. So she gets all the information together, and you make sure that it's distributed where everybody can be able to easily access and see what's going on here at the university.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Now, about Founder Celebration this year, what exactly makes this year's Founder Celebration different from previous year's Founder Celebrations?
Well, I think everybody likes half and whole numbers. You know, it's 140 years. It's not 139, it's not 141.
Right.
So this is a milestone year for the institution. So I wanted to make sure we were doing some things that were different. They may or may not be carried on the next year, but this is the 140th year. It's kind of like, you know, your 40th birthday or whatever, you know, half or whole birthday that you celebrate. You want to do something spectacular for that date.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That sounds good. Now, what exactly are what are the events? Take us through the week, how we're starting off.
Okay. Well, we'll start with Wednesday. That is April 24th. And the new thing we're doing that day, it's kind of a service day, but it's also the beginning of our first Founder Celebration fashion show. Okay. I used to work in the museum, well, I won't say how many years ago, but I was doing a research project, and I kept running across these 2-page spreads in the yearbook. Specifically, it was Miss Arkansas State before it was Miss UAPB. So it would be her and her court, these big, beautiful 2-page spreads of them in clothing, period clothing. And I thought, well, it'd be kind of neat to celebrate that, the history of fashion on this campus. And you see it every day. There are things that are kind of inspired by vintage clothing that we don't realize every day. The flare-cut pants that we like to wear a lot of times, 60s, 70s. Right. So, you know, it's a lot of stuff that I saw. I was like, well, this is an interesting way. Everybody loves fashion. Everybody loves clothing. So figure let's celebrate that. That's Wednesday at noon. That'll take place in the LA Davis Student Union Lounge.
Now, what all goes into, because this is a vintage fashion show. So what all went into preparing for a vintage fashion show? Who else did you bring into working with that, and how did you find the clothing and all that?
Well, I paired up with a person that had a love for fashion just as much as I do, Mr. Brian Williams. He is going to be the vice chair for that event. And we did a lot of research. We looked at the University Museum and Cultural Center, went back through the yearbooks, and we stuck with the period 1911 to 1991. We figured anything past that is, you know, pretty much current. So we went through those, and we took pictures of everything that we saw that was of interest, and we cataloged them, and we looked at, okay, well, let's cover this. We knew we'd have to reach out to maybe some consignment shops or some resale shops, but we found a huge plethora of costumes right here in our theater department. They had a huge amount of stuff. When we did, they did production of Joe Turner's Come and Gone. That was 1911. So we went from there, and we found a cadre of stuff from 1911 to 1985. So yeah, but we also will have some things from some outer areas. The Clothesline Consignment Store in Whitehall will be donating a few items. And then there's some people in the city that are going to loan us some things. All
right. Well, that sounds like it's going to be an awesome and fun event. And what time is that again?
That's at noon.
It's on noon on Wednesday, the 24th. All right. And moving on to the next part of that.
Later that day, we were first going to entitle Wednesday Service Day, but we actually decided to just make that a service component. So in dealing with and being inspired by the past to impact the future, we wanted to be agents of change for this community. So if we're going to impact the future, we have to go out into the community. So let's deal with impacting the future of our community. We're going to do a customer service project, well, a community service project at Salvation Army. And they have a lot of inventory that they need help sorting with. So we're going to go as a group there from 2:30 to 5 that day.
All right. And how can people contact if they want to, alumni or people in the community, students, if they want to help and be a part of that service day?
Sure. Dean Carla Martin is facilitating that part, so you can contact her at 870-575-8577, and she can add you to the list of volunteers.
All right. All right. And then moving on with the next event.
Yes, Thursday is kind of, I guess you can call it the big day. You know, just when we have homecoming, we have the assembly or the game. This is the big game. So convocation is going to be Thursday, April 25th at 10:30 a.m. in the H.O. Clemens Arena of the Hyper building. Most people know is that, HPER building. And our speaker this year is Dr. Charlie Nelms.
Okay. And that is a move. So all of you who are used to coming to Founders Convocation will not be Sunday afternoon. It will be Thursday morning. Thursday morning.
Yes.
And it will not be in the Fine Arts Center.
No.
It will be
in
at the Hyper Gymnasium.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. Is that something that, you know, people are always, we might accidentally show up at the wrong place.
And we hope that they don't. We really hope that they don't.
We'll leave signs on the outside of the doors of the Fine Arts building that say, no, we're not
we're
here.
We're done. Yeah.
We've wrapped up already.
Yes.
Okay, and is there anything else that will be taking place on that Thursday?
Yes, Thursday evening at 6:30 we'll have a poetry slam. And the reasoning behind that was to talk about the effect of history on you. You know, and it all ties back into that theme, inspired by the past to impact the future. So when you know, we always talk about it in February, civil rights and black history and things like that. Well, what effect does that have on you in the future? And how will you affect future generations based on what you know has already occurred? Okay,
and who can be a part of the poetry slam?
We actually have a multitude of students, but there are some faculty and staff that will be participating. And Ralph Owens would be the contact for that. His number is 870-575-7063.
Okay. All right. So that's taking us through Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, then we'll finish out the weekend because the week is not over yet. We still have a few more days to get through. That was only Wednesday and Thursday, and it was a full week. If you'd like to know more about Founders or get involved with any of the events taking place, then just contact Tish with this number.
And visit UAPB.edu.
or UAPB.edu and follow the links and we'll find out, because that'll be the easy way, huh?
Yes.
All right, we'll be right back on UAPB Currents.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Welcome back to UAPB Currents. We're joined today by Ms. Tisha Arnold from the Office of Planning, Institutional Research, and Public Information. I should have that memorized by now. I'll know it when you leave. Yeah. And she's here today talking about Founders Celebration, our 140th Founders Celebration, which will be April 24th through the 28th of this year. And we're excited about it and getting ready for it, and we've got to finish up with the events that are going to be taking place for the rest of the week. So we talked about Wednesday, the Vintage Fashion Show at noon in the Student Union, and the day of, service day that we're going to be doing at the Salvation Army that day as well. And then on Thursday, April 25th, will be Founders Convocation at 10 a.m. at the Hyper Arena.
10:30.
10:30.
Yes.
10. Come at 10.
Yes, please do.
Come at 10 and get a seat.
Preferably.
Because at 10:30 we're starting.
We're starting.
So yes, you come at 10. It'll start at 10:30. Will be Founders Convocation at the Hyper Gymnasium, and then that evening at
6:30.
will be the Poetry Slam, and that will be in the
L.A. Davis Student Union Ballroom.
L.A. Davis Student Union Ballroom. All right, let's move on into the next event.
All righty. Well, Friday, the only thing we have happening that day is the concert, and that is a two-part concert. The first half will be the concert band, and you'll see just a litany of different types of music: African, Moroccan, some of the classics, some classical music, and there will be dancers. Mr. Graham has put together a very spirited program, so please come out. That starts at 7 o'clock that Friday, and that will be in the Fine Arts Auditorium. So be sure to come out for that. And then the second half, that's the jazz portion. Most people really like hearing our jazz ensemble, and they were very good at representing the university well at the Arts and Science Center, so we're hoping to get a nice turnout to support them.
Okay, all right. Founders Concert at 7 p.m. at the Fine Arts Auditorium on Friday, April 26th.
That's it. That's it. So Saturday, another one of the traditional events that happens is our Black and Gold game. That is an intra-squad game. So you'll have, you know, some wearing black, some wearing gold, and the marching band will also perform at that time.
Right, and we know everybody wants to come out to the Black and Gold game because that where you're going to see our champion swag football team.
We're expecting a big turnout for that. Absolutely.
Football team.
Yes, and actually we'll need to back up just a little bit. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the National Alumni Association. They'll have their walkathon that morning. And registration, I believe, begins at 7:30 a.m. And this will be at Saracen Landing, where people can walk, run, jog, what have you, to raise money for educational scholarships.
Okay, all right. Make sure you go out for that. We need scholarship money.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. So that's at 10.
That's at 8 a.m.
At 8 a.m. at Saracen Landing for the walkathon. And then 1 p.m. for the Black and Gold game here at Golden Lion Stadium.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. So Sunday will be the final activities. Early Sunday morning. It's kind of like Easter service all over again. Early Sunday morning we'll be having sunrise service, and that will be in Cross Phipps Auditorium, also known as the old Caldwell Auditorium, but it has been renamed and dedicated for Cross and Phipps. And that will be at 6:30 a.m. And our speaker for that is Pastor Lloyd Holcomb. He'll be the speaker for that. And then immediately thereafter, generally it takes about an hour or so, about 7:45, we'll start the alumni breakfast. And that is sponsored mostly by the National Alumni Association.
Okay, and that will be held?
That'll be held in the large cafeteria, the L.A. Davis Student Union cafeteria.
Okay, all right. So that is a full that is a full week of events.
It's a full week.
It's a full week of events. I'll try and run it down for you since you've done all the talking. We'll start Wednesday with the Vintage Fashion Show at noon. The L.A. Davis Student Union. Okay, and then we will move on to our service day at the Salvation Army, and you can go to uapb.edu or call any one of the numbers that you've seen on the show to find out how you can get involved in that, because we want everybody can be involved in the service. And then Thursday is Founders Convocation. Founders Convocation is Thursday at 10:30 a.m. in the Hyper Gymnasium.
Correct.
Also on Thursday is,
the Poetry Slam.
No, I didn't. The Poetry Slam is Thursday. Poetry Slam is Thursday at 6:30.
Correct.
In the Student Union Ballroom. Okay. And that's it for Thursday.
Correct.
Okay. Friday is, what am I missing Friday morning? Nothing?
Oh my gosh, we are missing something. Oh wow.
What is that?
We are missing something. Friday from 11 to 1, we forgot the Bell Tower Gathering.
Oh.
That's what we forgot,
We forgot the Bell Tower Gathering.
That is kind of a spin-off from what has happened in a couple of years past. I believe it started 2 years ago, where it was just a very brief event around the W.E. O'Brien Bell Tower. And they would talk about the history behind it, who built it. I think that is one of the few structures that were actually built by faculty and students at the time. This one we had masonry and bricklaying classes. Because when we had a lot of the mechanical arts, they actually came together and built that structure the bell tower. So this year it's more of a festival type atmosphere. There'll be some people from the Pine Bluff Jefferson County Museum there. There'll be some dramatic arts going on. Music, I was told, was be performed by Eye Candy, which is actually a small combo group from the jazz ensemble. So I think it'll be a very exciting time. You'll definitely hear music on Friday around 11. And then you'll hear them again later that evening.
Okay, so Friday is music day.
Correct.
Friday.
Basically, yes. Basically, yes.
So the bell tower celebration is at 11.
Correct.
On Friday.
Yes.
And then that evening, you'll be able to see the concert band and the jazz band, jazz ensemble at 7 p.m. at the Fine Arts Auditorium. Then Saturday morning, get up early for the walkathon, alumni walkathon, to raise money for our scholarships for our students.
Yes.
And that'll be at Saracen Landing.
Yes.
Get out there and register for that. Make sure you find out how to be involved in that. And if you're not, then let somebody run down with your donation. That's fine. We'll take that too.
Yes.
You don't have to run if you don't, or walk if you don't want to. You can just bring your donation. We'll take that too.
That'll work too.
And then at 1 p.m. you'll be able to come out and see our championship SWAC football team in the black and gold game at 1 p.m.
Yes.
And then Sunday, make sure you go to sleep after the game.
Please do.
Sunday, sunrise service at 6:30 at Cross Phillips Auditorium, which is the old Caldwell Hall Auditorium. And that'll be at 6:30, sunrise service. And then the alumni breakfast immediately following.
That's it.
Tish, you have done a lot of work.
That's enough.
You guys have done a lot of work.
I can't take all the credit. I have a fabulous committee working with me, and I believe in letting people do what they do best.
Right.
So my shout out goes to the committee.
Right.
They help me to look good.
Okay. All right. So you guys make sure you come out and see all that Tish and the committee for this 140th Founders Celebration have put together here at the university. And the theme again is
Inspired by the past to impact the future.
Inspired by the past to impact the future.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. You guys make sure that you go to uapb.edu and check out the mini page and find out if you need a reminder of what the events are and how to get in contact and be involved, and give Tish a call and let her know if you want to help out with something.
That'd be good.
That'd be great. All right, and we will see you next time on UAPB Currents.